Oh, Millie, look how dirty you've gotten. Dirty girl. Oh. G'day, frothers. It's your bolter down under here. Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about what kind of drill you need to bolt a rock climb. So, what kind of drill do we want to buy for bolting rock climbs? I get asked this question pretty often, so I decided to just make a video and try and explain things a little bit better. So we want a hammer drill, right? Well, no, this is a hammer drill. You can even see the little hammer on the side there. Up on the selector ring, you set it to hammer. So yeah, that's what a hammer drill is. We actually don't want one of these. This is also a hammer drill. We don't want one of them either, even though it's got the little hammer mode on there. That is not really going to work because this style of drill, just has a kind of cam mechanism inside the clutch there. Cam being a device which turns rotary motion into linear motion, and basically all it does is cause the chuck to rattle back and forth. That's not really going to do much. So these ones, they've just got a normal jawed chuck on there, so that's a keyless chuck. But you can see the jaws there that hold the drill bit. They take a standard shank drill bit. It does have the masonry chisel point on the top, but that is basically only going to be good for brick and concrete and stuff like that. Yeah, so unfortunately you probably got one of these at home, but that's not what you need. You need a whole different tool for this. In fact, a different class of tool called a rotary hammer. In this case, it's an SDS rotary hammer. Rotary hammer means it's got the drill part that turns, but then it's also got a hammer mechanism inside there. It's a pneumatic hammer which hits the drill bit from the back, and so it's actually in the same class of tools as like those big jackhammer things like demolition hammers and breakers and things like that. So this is what you need. Unfortunately, the thing that you probably already have is not going to work. You've got to buy a different tool entirely, and these tend to be pretty expensive for tools. I think they typically cost more than your normal sort of power tools because they actually have two mechanisms inside. They're sort of like two tools in one. You'll notice on here there's a gear selector or a mode selector. So in this case you can do hammer only, hammer and drill. So it's turning and hammering. You can do drill only, or you can do, these Milwaukee ones are so hard to turn. Or you can do hammer only. Oh, you bastard. Come on. Like that. So yeah, these are a different class of tool entirely to your normal hammer drills. SDS is the chuck size or the chuck type. So SDS means something in German. I can't pronounce it. I think they call it Special Direct System or something in English, but it means something else in German. And it basically takes these drill bits. So these are 10mm shank. So SDS and SDS Plus are the same 10mm shank. One of them's got more slots on it, but you know they both fit. Plus is just an improved version of standard SDS. Then you got SDS Max, which is 18mm, and that's like a big giant breaker hammer sort of tool that you definitely don't want. SDS drill bits have got, so as opposed to the normal drill bits with their normal shanks on there, SDS drill bits have the slots and the little retaining slots there. So the chuck inside here will grab those two with a ball bearing, while these rails here allow it to slide back and forth as it hammers. You'll notice it doesn't really turn. All it does is that. And so once you've clicked it in, the way you remove it is by pulling that back. That releases the little ball bearings in there, and then you can slide it out. You don't need to do any turning on it, like in your standard drill. You can get different configurations. There are D-handle ones which are long. Personally, I'd go for this shape just because it's going to be more balanced and it's going to fit in your pack a little bit better. So which rotary hammer should you buy? I mean, honestly, you just buy this one. It's great. It's real good drill. But around here, we're about reasons, not rules. And so rather than just tell you which product to buy, I'm going to explain what kind of features you're actually going to look for. So firstly, what you want, believe it or not, is not a big drill. I used to have a 36 volt monster because we've got a lot of hard rock around here, and I thought, yeah, you need a big drill to drill the hard stuff. And it turns out I was dead wrong. I wasted a lot of time lugging this thing around when I really should have just gone for one of these smaller ones, you know, from the start. And here's the thing: big drills are for big drill bits. Okay, you don't want a big drill. The biggest you're ever likely to use in rock climbing is 14 millimeters. This one can do 26 millimeters. So unless you're regularly doing things like this all the time, or even bigger, you do not want a big drill. You've got to carry this thing. You've got to carry this thing up the mountains and then Jumar with it and, you know, climb with it in your pack. You do not want a big drill. In fact, you want the lightest drill you can find. Believe it or not, the little ones work. This little 12 volt Makita, it weighs less than 2 kilos with the battery, and boy, it works great. I feel like I wasted my life, well, the last 5 years, with the giant 7.5 kilo drill. I should have gotten one of these from the start. So the next thing you want to get is a cordless version, obviously. Jesus Christ, I mean, you're not gonna how are you gonna plug this bastard in? Well, actually, yeah, there is a famous climb nearby where I am that was actually put up by a bunch of dumbass teenagers who did have one of these drills, a plug-in drill, and they lugged a fucking generator and a giant extension cord up to the cliff with them. Check out the video. It's pretty awesome. A nice piece of climbing history from these parts. But yeah, honestly, you don't want to do that. Jesus Christ, don't be a drongo. So you want a cordless one. I'd say get a 18 volt one. It's just, Milwaukee calls M18, but you know they're big on the tough guy branding. So you want probably an 18 volt one. And you know the reason I say 18 volt is because it's really versatile. It's a very common voltage. It's a good mid-range voltage. And you know if we take a look at the Makita catalog here, these are all the 18 volt tools you can get. Yeah, tons of different shit. So you know if you get a 18 volt system, Milwaukee's the same. Fucking what's the other one? Bosch the same. You know, 18 volt tools are really just the standard size, and this can really help inform your decision making. If you think, oh, I need a random orbital sander, or I need a reciprocating saw, or I need a little fucking little robot cleaner thing, you know, in terms of brands, just go for that. Go for what you can afford. Go for what you like. Go for the different ranges they might have. Here in Australia, Milwaukee is a lot more expensive than Makita. I ended up with Milwaukee just because of like historical reasons. I also got Makita 12 volt. Maybe I'll explain why later. But you know, just get yourself. Doesn't really matter what brand. Any of the major brands will be great. Milwaukee is definitely good, but here in Australia they are expensive. They are 20-30% more expensive than Makita, which is a brand I like. Very common here in Australia. Probably different where you are, but you know, any of the main power tool brands like Bosch, DeWalt, Makita, they'll all be fine. Ryobi, I don't know. I think Ryobi's probably all right, but I haven't ever seen anyone use a Ryobi drill. I heard one group of slackliners once used it in this hard igneous rock we got around here, and it broke. So anyway, go for one of just the normal drill power tool brands. Whatever you can afford, whatever you like, whatever you've already got. Hell, you've probably got a normal fucking power drill at home, so just go grab the same one. Now, you might see a few guys out there rocking Hiltis. Honestly, don't bother. You do not need that kind of quality. Like, Hilti is a top quality tool. There's a few other like real premium brands out there. Fine, Festool, Hilti. Like, honestly, if you're just a weekend warrior, do not bother. You know, they don't have the same kind of range of other tools. They're going to cost you an arm and a leg. Yes, they'll last forever. But honestly, if you're out there bolting maybe 10, 20 climbs a year, any normal tool brand is going to be fine. You know, these things all come with like a 5-year warranty nowadays. Make sure you fill in your warranty card. I mean, no one ever does that, but you know, shit, I've got probably 10 around here that I've never filled in. But in theory, if it breaks after 5 years, you can get a new one, and that's a pretty good run. Don't worry about getting Hiltis, unless you want to, in which case let us know how it goes, because I would love to use one. So what else do you want to look for in the drill? Obviously, yeah, the weight. I mentioned before, you don't want a big one, want a small one. I actually went and got a whole new system, the Makita 12-volt system, because I just wanted a really light, compact drill. A lot of the stuff, I mean, I always work on my own, usually, often remotely, so I've got to fit everything in that bag, and every gram, ounce, kilo, whatever, that all counts. So try and go for the lightest one you can get. Again, I recommend getting the 18-volt because it's just going to be more versatile, and the weight's not going to be that different, but you know, after years of lugging around a really big, heavy bastard, I was just in love with the lighter tools once I realized how good the modern ones are. And so you may notice this thing says fuel on it here. You got to watch out for that. A lot of these tool manufacturers, they'll use funny names or, you know, brand names. In America, everything's a registered trademark, so you got to watch out for that. Fuel, if you're getting Milwaukee, get a fuel drill. In fact, I'd just get that one. But what it actually means is brushless. So you see that there, brushless motor. Get a brushless drill if you can afford it. What does brushless mean? Well, without getting too didactic about it, it's a modern, say, digitally controlled drill, versus an old brushed tool. So this old one, as well as having the horrible old NiCad batteries, this is also a brushed tool. It's analog. It's an old technology. So just think of it like analog versus digital. What it really means is a brushless tool is going to be a bit more expensive, maybe 20% more expensive. Worth it. Absolutely worth it if you can afford it. Because what you get is lighter, more powerful, more efficient. So per kilo, you get more runtime. Per battery, you can get 50 to maybe even 100% extra runtime on your tool if you get a brushless version. I used to have a brushed version of this drill, not exactly the same version, but very, very similar performance in terms of all the specs. And that one got about 12 holes per battery. Then I found out how good the brushless tools were, sold that shit on eBay, got myself this one, and this one gets 25 holes per battery. 25 holes in real hard igneous rock like granite or something. 25 holes per battery, and it weighs less than the other one. Like, my God, get a brushless tool if you can afford it. I mean, honestly, if you can't afford the extra 20, 30 bucks for the brushless version, then bolting is not going to be for you. You won't be able to afford all the bloody hardware. Get a brushless tool. Your back will thank you for it. Your arms will thank you for it. More runtime is so important because if you run out of battery, that's a whole day you've spent. And if you're like me, you've only got one day a week, maybe, where you actually get to go climbing, and if you choose that to be bolting instead, you've got to make that day count. My old 36-volt Makita, again, I sold that a while ago. Once I started getting into these 18-volt brushless tools, it got like, I don't know, 8 holes per battery. It weighed a ton. It was something like 7.5 kilos in the pack. And 8 holes per battery. I think in a good day I get 15 done. Whereas this weighs half as much. In one battery that'll get 25 holes. Get a brushless tool. So do you want a 3-mode drill? Well, sure. I recommend getting a 3-mode if it's your first drill. My little baby blue over here, which is just two mode. That means there's less stuff inside. It's got a simpler gearbox, and that means the weight of the tool is reduced. For this particular tool that I wanted, just the lightest one I could find, basically. The lightest possible drill I could get. This one's awesome, but it's only 2-mode. Sometimes you might want 3-mode. For instance, if you're drilling out recesses for glue-in bolts, it helps to be able to just put it on hammer only and just carve out those recesses. It also helps if you are skating around a lot. You can set it to hammer only, cut a little divot in there, a little recess, and then switch back to hammer drill, and then you're good to go. Something else you can use that mode for is basically other stuff around the house. Like if you're doing demolition, if you're pulling out tiles or whatever off your floor, get some chisels. That's I don't know what a pretty small one, but if you want to use the tool for anything else like that around the house, it's great. Now it's got to switch it to hammer only mode. But now it's good for all sorts of other jobs around the house. If you're doing some demo or some renos, like, beautiful. Hell, I even made some like rock ring type trainer things by just carving out rock. Found some rock and just carved it out. I mean, it's beautiful. So yeah, I recommend you get a 3-mode drill if it's your first tool or if it's your only tool. A little bit extra weight, but you know what? It's going to be more versatile, and if you're just starting out, yeah, go for it. Actually, I forgot to mention, I'm lighting this video with an 18-volt battery right now. You can get these adapter things. This one's even got a USB charger, and so it means you can actually swap between brands. This is for Makita. This one's a Milwaukee battery, goes onto Makita tools. I bought a whippersnipper, what's that other thing? Hedge trimmer, all sorts of tools. You're not locked into one brand anymore if you get these things too. Very good. So, you want a cordless, 18-volt, brushless, because they last longer, 3-mode rotary hammer. And you want the lightest one you can get, for obvious reasons. So anyway, that's my two bob. Thanks for watching, and I'll scratch yous later.